2027, after 2026, might even be a hotter year for some of these releases. Coming out of Superman, going right into Peacemaker, and then I think Lanterns may come at the beginning of 2026. Doesn't it feel like we're flowing nicely from title to title in a way that makes sense? And there was a period where the MCU had that.
Yeah, 100%. Again, they get the benefit of starting.
And we say, like, well, James Gunn is already applying these lessons by keeping things contained. Well, is he? Because Superman and even Peacemaker are exploring the quantum unfolding chamber, dimensional logic, and quantum physics. If anything, doesn't it feel like he's already blowing things up real fast? Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's official. Superman, Man of Tomorrow is coming July 9th, 2027. It's the next DCU team-up movie following Superman and Supergirl, and maybe even Green Lantern and Hawkgirl and the Justice Gang could be involved in this because it's not Superman 2. Lex Luthor seems like he's going to be part of it with his Lexbot armor. So the question now is, will the DCU, now that it's cooking like this, replace Marvel Studios as the franchise that's at the center of our hearts? Or is it really too soon to say? What will it take, James Gunn's DC universe, to really occupy the same parts of our minds and hearts that Marvel Studios did during its heyday?
All it takes is Mr. Terrific kissing me on the forehead. I'm just joking. Not really. This is the sneak peek where we talk about the future of fandom with your hosts, Jessica Clemens and Eric Voss.
Hi, Jess. So really, some of the biggest news this week was just this announcement from James Gunn on Instagram. And then everyone started to stalk everyone else in the DCU's social media. Isabella Merced reshared it, saying, "See you soon." Aaron Pierre was one of the first replies on it. Grant Gustin also got in on those replies. He's like, "Come on, let me be the
Yeah,
Flash."
so are they assuming they're gonna immediately be in the? I assume Isabella would be in the sequel,
Yeah,
but
me
are
too.
we assuming, like, there's some people that are commenting that don't know whether or not?
I think they're just excited. And I think
Okay.
James Gunn has said nice things about them, and they all follow each other. But James Gunn has clarified this is not going to be Superman 2, which I find interesting. I think it's just going to be called Man of Tomorrow. He made this announcement with some new art from Jim Lee, head of DC Comics, showing Superman and Lex Luthor in the green and purple Lexbot armor. Interestingly, David Cornsweet and other people involved kind of shared different drawings, but part of the same set that Jim Lee did. So really, 2027, after 2026, might even be a hotter year for some of these releases. We're having Star Wars Starfighter coming May 2027. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the animated Miles Morales movie, is coming June 2027. Just like 2 weeks after that, we'll have Man of Tomorrow coming July 9th, 2027. And then in October 2027, The Batman Part 2. And then finishing out the year will be Avengers Secret Wars coming December 2027. We don't know, as of this taping, if Marvel's going to try to fit in another Marvel Studios release sometime during the year. But just those 5, holy shit, it's going to be a crazy year.
And we're assuming that Spider-Man is doing it.
They
better at this point. It's been too long. You can't push it anymore.
They can't push it
I think
again.
you actually legally can't, or like Sony couldn't, right? With their weird.
Well, now that they have Brand New Day coming out.
they get to reset that clock.
Yeah. They
crazy.
erased the chalk. And we don't know what streaming titles are going to be releasing. You know, in 2026, along with Supergirl coming out in movie theaters, we're going to have Lanterns, which is going to be a big series that's going to be part of the DCU to introduce us to the Green Lantern Corps and Jon Stewart. We may have some other type. We'll have Clayface coming out in theaters as well. That will show us what the DCU Gotham will look like. So I just feel like this time next year, we're going to know a lot about the DC universe and what it will look like, and in terms of the tonal variety that James Gunn may be achieving if he really truly lets some of these other filmmakers and showrunners build out parts of the world without him controlling too much of it.
Well, I think he gave them a really good deck. There has to be like a perfect Bible that they set up that's like, here's what you're working with, here's the parameters in which you're working with, but it's not like too much of a sandbox. I'm sure everybody gets their own little spin on what they want to do, but the DCU seems like it's already very structured pretty well. Yeah,
and by sticking to like one big movie per year, I guess there's going to be 2. Like there'll be like a Gotham and then a Metropolis story, you know, and kind of building it out that way in terms of the movie releases seems like a smart approach.
Yeah.
Like a kind of a fall like an October-y Batman Gotham story, and then a summertime Metropolis story, and then having streaming series in between that kind of fill out different parts of the world.
Do you think they built out their quota for like even if it's a 5 or 10 year plan, but they don't know what they're going to do afterwards? Because I feel like coming out, even doing 2 movies a year, maybe it can get slowed down. Maybe it can. I'm not even talking about like resources wise or money wise. It's like maybe they're like, oh, this is really big production. Maybe we should do 1 movie and then 2 of these, or 1 movie and this. Do you think they'll change it up eventually, sooner or later?
I think they will. I think they're gonna try to have one big theatrical movie coming out every year. Warner Brothers needs that. They need a tentpole. But I'd be surprised if they ever do more than 2.
Yeah. Is this, you know how like Benedict Cumberbatch is like, and not even in a disrespectful way, he's like, yeah, I do the Marvel movies, which funds me being able to do the theater movies. Do you think that's what Warner Brothers does with like the DC universe? They're like, we can do Sinners in these movies that cost us a lot of money, so we can, because we get to put out Peacemaker in these other shows.
You know, I think they're grateful to just have anybody running the studio who seems to know what they're doing.
True.
I mean, Peter Safran and James Gunn have proven their ability to make a successful Superman movie. I mean, it's $620 million and growing. Like, it's still in theaters right now. It's been one of the leggiest releases that's just like, surprisingly still making money even when it's available for purchase on digital. So I think they're always going to look to the DC franchise as like being that for them. Back when Alan Horn was running the studio from like 2002 to 2012 or something. I think it was like 99 to 2012. Alan Horn, he since went to Disney. He's now back at Warner Brothers. During his tenure, that's when you had Warner Brothers as a dominant studio behind the Lord of the Rings films. Yeah. The Harry Potter series made much money.
They were literally running the market. Like, it was crazy. And they could rely on that every year.
And the Christopher Nolan Batman era. And even before Christopher Nolan's Batman films, the Harry Potter series during the aughts was the biggest moneymaker for Warner Brothers.
It's interesting to look back at it because it has slowed significantly. They don't have like a franchise. They have just the DC.
Yep. And they're trying to resurrect Harry Potter on HBO. We'll see how that works out. They've had some success. Like, they tried doing it with Fantastic Beasts in the 2010s, and it didn't work. It fizzled out. They tried to franchise Mad Max, and it didn't work with Furiosa. But they have these. They lost Christopher Nolan to Universal. That was a big loss for Warner Brothers.
Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, is that Warner Brothers?
I think that was a Disney Buena Vista release in the 2000s, and now it's going to be a Netflix thing.
Oh, yeah, it is Netflix. Damn, dude, what is Warner Brothers got?
Well, what they do have are some good partnerships with people like Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, 100.
They have Zach Kreger's Weapons was a big release for them. Minecraft was huge for them this year. Like, Warner Brothers had a pretty good year. Barbie was big a couple years ago. So
I guess I was talking more like relying on a franchise at least, because at least like with Lord of the Rings, with Harry Potter, with the Christopher Nolan Batmans, you could rely on it.
That you could definitely build a studio around it. Part of what happened with Warner Brothers is it wasn't just the DCEU, the Zack Snyder, the John Berg, Jeff Johns era, the Walter Hamada era. Yeah, that was part of it. It was the AT&T purchase and the Discovery merger with David Zaslav that really just the mistake of streaming with HBO and turning HBO into Max. And I think they really made some critical mistakes there when they, at the time, coming out of everything Alan Horn did for them, had such a rich slate of great IP. And people who are more go listen to Matt Bellany's podcast. He can give you more info on like, well, really what happened.
We're doing
with all
a
that.
pretty survey because we still have a main topic of discussion. I think this is still critical because it's also just understanding the pull and what they're willing to do and what they're willing to bargain with, and merging felt like they took a lot of things away. And I was like, and I don't want to think that, not franchises, when I say like DC, like I'm talking about like having Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Twilight, it feels like that's going away. Like, that's gone. Is it gone? Having like that string of The only people I see kind of getting it is Amazon Studios now, because Amazon does have Lord of the Rings, right?
They have the Rings of Power. They have part of the Lord of the Rings, but there are other Lord of the Rings in development at Warner Brothers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so what they have a very weird deal through the Tolkien estate, and that's why the Rings of Power has to be set during the Second Age.
Okay. Yeah. Because they also have Lord of the Rings for gaming, for Prime Gaming.
Yeah.
And then they get to do the prequel. But they can't do anything. Okay.
It's very confusing how it's divided up for Lord of the Rings.
Sorry.
But having James Gunn and Peter Safran at the helm of DC Studios and has been able to be as successful as they are, and by successful, I mean, like, these movies aren't making billions of dollars yet. But what they are doing is they're finishing on time. They're able to move forward with completed scripts with some rational, easy to follow continuity and interconnectivity that has enough of the fandom excited. Peacemaker every week has, like, I feel like coming out of Superman, going right into Peacemaker, and then I think Lanterns may come at the beginning of 2026. Doesn't it feel like we're flowing nicely from title to title in a way that makes sense? And there was a period where the MCU had that.
Yeah, 100%. Again, they get the benefit of starting, just starting. Like, they get the benefit of starting, and I love that benefit of starting fresh. Yeah, I love that benefit of starting fresh. We're basically at the beginning of the MCU, which was easy.
What the MCU did really well. I mean, in the earlier years, we didn't have any shows. Like, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after we had the first Avengers movie. And for a while, it felt like it was pretty connected. And then that led to some development with the Netflix Daredevil shows. And then in the earlier seasons, all those shows did feel like they were connected. And it wasn't until, like, Marvel Studios started to make big moves that couldn't logically really affect the worlds that were already really well established in Jessica Jones and Daredevil. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of restrained from being able to explore how the snap would affect the world of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., So it's just kind of a bummer. It just got too big. Yeah. You had too many Avengers-level conflicts and galaxy-sized events that just made it really hard to explore with the TV-sized budgets.
And also, again, they were like the first, like, kind of doing it, in my opinion. So it's like, it's hard to be the blueprint and also take note and then apply your own notes from your own, what you've done. They've done it such a large scale that other people are comparing, like, the model to that. Yeah. And when you started, it kind of sucks.
Yeah. So what we're really talking about are, like, some lessons that I'm sure are bumping around James Gunn's and Peter Safran's minds as they're building out this franchise.
Yeah, 100%.
And we say, like, well, James Gunn is already applying these lessons by keeping things contained. Well, is he? Because Superman and even Peacemaker are exploring the quantum unfolding chamber, dimensional logic and quantum physics, and the idea of other realities. Like, if anything, so far, I mean, I haven't seen all of Peacemaker yet, but doesn't it feel like he's already blowing things up real fast?
That's the great part that me and my mom enjoy watching about Peacemaker. I don't think we even talk about quantum physics. No one's asking the question, but I also think that's a benefit because the Marvel Cinematic Universe stayed on it so long that we're like, okay, we understand different realities. You don't need to get too into it. And so watching it, it's just watching a derpy guy working it. And that's what's entertaining enough. Where I feel like for Marvel, we had to do a lot of, not homework, it was just understanding. It was like, because I'm not a physicist. And, like, it felt like I had to do weird science and math to understand how Guardians could get through this wormhole and make it over here in time and apply that to, like, in She-Hulk, how fast Hulk got to Earth, but back to wherever his son was. I was like, this is really hard to understand. But this was just like, I open a door and my dead body's there and I go into another room. And he doesn't really talk about it too much. Maybe that is the grounded part, is keeping it simple, stupid. Yeah. Keeping it simple, stupid, kiss. Maybe that is the grounded part. That is as far as I will say to that.
I think that is it. And I think it's like not making the multiverse the star, but letting the characters be the stars. Like, we know so much about Chris Smith and where his emotions are at. And that's all we really care about is him and his relationships with the other people in the world. And I think Marvel in its later phases got away from that.
That 100%, and that is a learning lesson. I also think that James was kind of doing that naturally with Guardians. He focused more on the people and the family and how they felt this way, how it feel the other way, more than the world they were really living in. Because again, we never went back to Xandar, but I think James is good at that. And it's so funny because I was talking to my roommate last night about this, how invested we are in the characters when James Gunn is always writing them. Like Daniel Brooks' character in Peacemaker, I'm so enamored with. I'm so enamored with. I'm rooting for her. I'm sad that she's in this relationship that's ended and that she can't see her dogs. And then I'm like, but Jessica, remember that there's going to be a giant spider coming from a wormhole eventually.
Yeah.
And I don't care about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen the trailer and I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm hoping Economos doesn't have to choose between his friends or his job. James Gunn's just good at it. Ugh. And maybe that is a learning experience that he is applying really hard in the DC universe that Marvel just kind of didn't.
If you're a football fan, you've spent all summer waiting for the season to finally start. And now, thanks to DraftKings Pick 6, Week 1 is your chance to play free and stack $1 million cash bag with DraftKings Pick 6, an official partner of the NFL. Here's how to do it. Go download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. It's DraftKings' easiest way to play fantasy. Once you've got it, enter for free and pick more or less on 6 player stats for Week 1. For instance, do you think Patrick Mahomes will get more or less than 4,000 passing yards this season? Will Saquon Barkley have more or less than 11.5 rushing touchdowns? Pick right and you could win big. Share your link with friends to add more cash to the bag and get bonus shots to win. Hit all 6 picks and you'll be splitting a bag that's already at $1 million or more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use code SNEAKPEEK, opt in for free, and start stacking entries for NFL Week 1. Zero cost. Huge upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. Must claim token for free entry in Bag Builder contest. Only perfect entries earn share of cash prize. Tokens are single use and expire September 8th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Yeah, I think there's he so far has written all of the DCU that we know. Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, and Superman. Yeah. The test will be Lanterns.
That's where I'm like, that's gonna be the test.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's two very good. It seems like it's more about them butting heads, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that. It feels like that for me. That I'm like, okay, maybe we're focusing on 2 a little bit. Extra people come in.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn does introduce 8 people.
The thing is, though, Damon Lindelof, Anna Nogueira, Craig Gillespie, Mike Flanagan, these are
the best
world builders who are really good at
Damon
story
Lindelof,
logic.
You're out of your mind.
And they're all people who have made mistakes in the past and know what not to do. And I think that is a big difference than what we've seen from Marvel Studios. We've seen a lot of ascendant filmmakers and creatives who have never really gone through that shit before.
I agree.
Like Chloe Zhao, obviously one of the best filmmakers.
Yes.
I mean, Hamnet, she's going to win all the awards for Hamnet this year. But she's never been in a situation where she's had to be in a writer's room filled with whiteboards, having Nate Moore tell her who Kingo is. That's not... It's hard. No one would succeed in that scenario, you know?
I literally had this conversation last night. I love it because it is true. And I think that's a piece of James Gunn being a director and writer in that room, being like, oh, these are the directors and writers I really like. I was listening to the Mike Flanagan podcast where he talks, it's called Director's Commentary, where he talks with other directors. And these directors are his friends. And he's like, oh, I want to talk to you about your directing because I'm your friend. I know it, but I want to see it. And I was like, oh, this is people, James knows these people, or respects them to a degree that's like, you inspired me. And I want that from Marvel. I want them to look at people, not just from inspiration, but just like, oh, you could apply what you did here so well. And I would love to see it. They kind of threw Chloe and Nia DaCosta to the wolves. Because it's so broad. It's so huge. I think Star Wars kind of does the same thing where I'm like, oh, I wish they choose people like who did Picard.
Terry
That's doing
Matalas.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, grab that person that does sci-fi very well in storytelling. I would love to.
I mean, I think part of it is they just did too much at Marvel Studios. They had in a single year 4 theatrical releases and 5 streaming series come out, and that went fine. But then it was backed up by another year with I believe in 2022, didn't we have 3 theatrical releases? Unless I'm mistaken. We
What
had
year was
Doctor
that?
Strange and the Multiverse of
Yeah.
Madness. We had Thor: Love and Thunder, and we had Black Panther:
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever. And then we had like 3 or 4 streaming series. So all together. And then going into 2023, again, we had Quantumania, we had The Marvels, we had Loki, we had Secret Invasion, like just a lot. So limiting oneself to no more than 2 movies per year and no more than 2 streaming series per year.
Yeah. But do you think that would have really changed? Like, even if they did like just Eternals that one year? Like, because that's the part where I'm like, I don't think it would have. I don't know. I think it takes a little bit more work. Right?
That's not. You're right. It's not the only thing. I think that's step 1.
Step 1 is it is a step. It is.
I think
a
step
for sure.
2 is only greenlighting projects that have finished scripts that
100.
really, really work. And I
100%.
think Eternals might have been an example. Nothing against the people who wrote Eternals, but it seems like another example of where they did the same thing of bringing in a ton of different writers, doing a bake-off, going with the cheapest option, and then just throwing a bunch of concept art at them that those writers didn't really have in their heads.
It works sometimes to have a lot of hands in the pot, but most times it doesn't. And I hate this strategy when we keep putting like, and I know that some people just fall through, but it's like sometimes the script at Marvel can go through 7 hands, and I'm like, does that person at the end know about this person at the beginning? And and like what works on paper doesn't always work on screen. So I'm like, oh my God, we just put too much. We did too much.
I think you also need a filmmaker who really gets the source material and gets the audience. And I think that is one thing James Gunn has done. Kevin Feige, I think, is someone who gets the source material, gets the audience, but not every great filmmaker does, who works at Marvel Studios. A lot of them say, I grew up reading comics, but no, they really didn't. And it's clear that they didn't, even really, really good ones. I think like Ryan Coogler is an example of someone who really did fall in love with the specific era of Black Panther comics that came through so well on screen.
And I think that's needed.
Yeah.
I only use Chloe Zhao as an example because she's an insane director. Like,
Really
Chloe
cool.
Zhao, like when I heard she was doing Eternals, I was like, this is either going to be amazing or really bad, because this person is amazing director. Like, she's perfect, but like it's a different genre. It's different. It's different. And I think that's really important to have someone that resonates in the material, that wants to write the material before it resonates with them. You know what I'm saying? If you give me a script of Eternals and I go, I'm finding reasons why it resonates with me. No, I want to choose that script because I want to be that material. It's like me doing, if I were to do I'm trying to think of someone I really, really am obsessed with. There's this weird comic book about Faith. She's a plus size superhero, or Bitch Planet. I would be like, please let me do Bitch Planet. I already know exactly what it is like to be this woman in a world where they don't really like take them serious. Like, please, I need to do it. I would probably throw my passion into that 110-fold. And I think Chloe Zhao did. It's just, it was so much. I keep using so much as an example, but Eternals was a maze of weirdness.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be like, I liked Eternals.
You can
and
like Eternals.
we're using Eternals because that was one of the bigger swings that Marvel did.
And it's Chloe Zhao underlined, like it literally only because it's Chloe Zhao. Like that's like I can't even think of another director like that I love as much as Chloe Zhao, and then throwing her onto like She-Hulk or something. I'd be like, oh my God, crazy.
Yeah, think of like a Best Picture winning director who created something, getting Bong Joon-ho.
Oh my God, dude, that'd be crazy.
It would almost like limit them in a way that you wouldn't like.
That's a good example. If Bong Joon, first off, I probably would eat that up. It'd be something completely not at all Marvel.
But like, you got to look at people like James Gunn did grow up reading comics. Say what you will about him. Joss Whedon did grow up reading and then wrote Marvel Comics for a part of his career. He was the right guy for the job at the time. There's a reason Avengers and Age of Ultron made $1 billion each, and then phase 1 and phase 2 of the MCU did work really well. It's because they had a galaxy brain in that room building out that world.
Do you think that there's people that have that connection to comics, but the movie didn't really come through? Because sometimes I can understand being so attached that you're like, you need to see all these things, and then on screen it just didn't work that well. Not to poop on anyone's thing. I was just thinking, is there a director that was like that has come out with, that's done a nerd movie or series?
Yeah, I think so. Like Edgar Wright, when he was doing Ant-Man, it didn't come together, and he was someone who did grow up reading specific comic books. And I think he's a director who I absolutely love, but it didn't work. There's like other examples of like specific streaming series, and I'm failing to remember them right now. It's also hard to know because a lot of directors say that they grew up reading comics, but like literally no one read Eternals comics until there was a Neil Gaiman run in the late 90s.
If you're a girl that loves sexy girls doing sexy things, you did read Eternals. Because
in 1970s.
No, Cersei. Look up Cersei in the
I think later. I think people later found them, but there wasn't a generation of people who had read them.
There's not a generation of people that also like read like Faith. Like they're
sure, but
like,
they're not making Faith. What I'm saying is like when Marvel Studios announced Avengers, Marvel fans knew who the Avengers were because there were a lot of great eras of the comics that people had read for Avengers.
I think they chose Eternals, and this is no flack on them. It's because it's different. And because I also think the math for the Eternals was too much. I don't think we should have made it. Honestly, that's just my opinion. I think you made so much more math in the MCU because you also still have Ego and you still have Thanos, and you just created just more fucking questions. But I think they were just like, it's different, and we wanted to make a phase right after that showed different superheroes, and a lot of those different superheroes aren't the coolest. Yeah, I'll say as much as that. They're not the greatest.
Well, and I guess the reason I think we're talking so much about Eternals is like at some point James Gunn is going to face a decision of whether or not to make a Jack Kirby New Gods DC movie, which you know, think? Eternals are basically Jack Kirby doing at Marvel what he did at DC with the New Gods.
Isn't Darkseid also basically Thanos?
Darkseid is like from the planet Apocalypse. Apocalypse is like a sister planet to where the New Gods come from. It's all kind of connected, and James Gunn clearly has kind of pointed to the sky and said he has it all figured out. He knows what the origin story of the metahumans in the DCU are. They've been known to the people of Earth for 300 years. However, you know, they probably predate that based off of the mural art that he even put in the Hall of Justice. And with the Green Lantern Corps, we're going to learn even more about the cosmic history of the DCU.
And that's the thing. Maybe it's those little pieces. Like the Themyscira can touch on it too.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, those pieces help. I don't think we kind of got... Again, I'm so sorry to keep using Eternals. I don't think we really got that much of a lead up to Eternals.
Nothing,
it just came out of nowhere.
They really did come out of Thanos' arrival. But Marvel Studios still hasn't like acknowledged that Thanos isn't eternal the way Kingo and Icarus and Cersei are.
That's why I was like, it kind of just... But he's dropping little eggs, James is.
I think he's not afraid to make those connections.
Do you think that's not grounded? That's too big?
Well, I think that's another key lesson that James Gunn is applying is he doesn't need his DC universe to look and feel and be the same world as our world, the way Kevin Feige wanted phases 1 and 2 of the MCU to be. Like, Iron Man 2 has Elon Musk and Larry Ellison show up in it.
Look, we made some mistakes.
Like, you know, however, like Jake Tapper did show up in Superman, but he was credited as Jake Tapir. It really was just a cameo. It wasn't implied that like David Corenswet's Superman exists in the world. Like Metropolis doesn't exist in our world, you know? Gotham doesn't exist in our world. And James Gunn has made that very clear. Whether he'll be able to stick to that, we'll see. But I think he wants his DC universe to be more fantastical. He wants it to have aliens and shapeshifters and sorceresses and wizards and monsters, gods and monsters. And I think that's something that Kevin Feige, I think, was always afraid to do.
100. Well, you want to, and I get it in the early 2000s, kind of mirroring today, so it feels more relatable. Or not even relatable, you can just watch it and be like, oh yeah, 100%. But I remember after you saw Superman, you said this, and I was like 100% after I saw Superman, it feels like a comic booky. Like it feels comic booky. And I love that so much. And for me with Superman, it was like, I love that he was derpy and dumb and an idiot because I was just like, yeah, he is. That's a dumb idiot. He doesn't know. He's a normal boy.
Yeah, right. And he's someone who makes mistakes.
He makes mistakes.
He believes in the good in people to a fault sometimes.
Yes, but the early MCU was like, look how cool it is to be a millionaire.
So
Put pull in that jet.
Cool.
And that's what I didn't like. I liked it then because it was all I had, right? It was like me learning. And then once I got older and I saw Superman, I was like, oh yeah, it's not cool to be this guy. Like, it's not cool to be him. He's just a normal guy. Like, he comes from a farm. He's a dumb idiot. And also being a nerd used to be like, harsh. But I think early, like Iron Man definitely made it be like, put on those aviators.
Yeah. That's why I think things like virtue, wholesomeness, will
Overcome.
never age.
Yeah.
Whereas aura and coolness changes week to week.
Cringe.
Yeah. Aura just ages like milk into cringe 1 month to the next. But like things like virtue will always be in season, whether it's like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or, some people will cringe at Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but like those cringers will be longing for him a year later.
That's a
when
good take.
some version of cool is presented to them, and by the time that plate gets to them, it's lukewarm.
And that was the thing. It was like what 2000. It was 2007. Like. Yeah, it was the status though. I completely get it. Pulling away from it and pulling towards that virtue stuff is like probably the best they can do, and I think they're trying really hard. Again, Marvel had to making lemonade out of the lemons like that they made. So I give them a little bit of benefit for that because James gets to start fresh.
Yeah, I don't think everything James Gunn does in the MCU will be like flawless. I think he's going
DCU?
to stumble. Yeah. Well, he's going to stumble along the way as some of these
100.
DC titles. There's just going to be some butting heads between him and these other creators. It's bound to happen.
I was thinking about that and I'm so nervous about it. And not like it's not going to be damning, but I'm like, is he real? Do you think he is headstrong? He's never really had to like
He doesn't generally have a writer's room.
He doesn't, right?
Like on Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, he wrote all of it. He does give notes. He's a pretty good collaborator. His department heads love working with him. His actors love working with him again. So that says something about how he is to work with as a collaborator, as a filmmaker.
But like a creative collaborator.
But as a world builder, we will see. We will see. I think like Damon Lindelof is used to being the world builder. He's an example of another person who's like this Joss Whedon-esque figure who is like built this very popular pop iconic television programming, has made some mistakes along the way, but has like gelled into something of a savant with The Leftovers and HBO's Watchmen.
Such good.
Yeah, I mean, even Lost, and as controversial as it was among the fandom, is like something that will always be sacred to me. And Lindelof is a reason for that. One of the many reasons for that.
Insane, dude, to get that man. I
Yeah,
feel like that cost
lanterns. I mean,
that cost money. I feel like that cost money to get him.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But the fact that James Gunn is committing to doing less and he's only going to announce scripts when the script is good and done, I think is a good sign. I think it's a very good sign. And Man of Tomorrow, like that is the treatment he's been teasing for the past 8 weeks. That is now moving into a script, and I feel like the fact that he announced this week that this movie's coming out on a specific release date means that script is done.
He writes those scripts a little too quick. Now I think Ryan does a little bit quicker, but I do think James and him could have a Ryan Coogler. Sorry, like he's my homie. Yeah. I think Ryan could do a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
If they had a write-off, I would love to see what the product of both those scripts look like. If they had like a month, if they had 30 days to just write me or just to write something, I would love to see what their both takes are on just nothing.
Yeah, you've done sketch cram at UCB before,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So Gina, new Rockstars and Break Room host, Gina used to run a thing at UCB Theater in LA called Sketch Cram, which is where you get writers in a morning, on Saturday morning at like 10 a.m. to pitch 5 ideas. Gina, along with 2 other directors, would kind of narrow down what pitches you do. And then you write until like, 2 p.m. or something like that?
I think that's where I got this script idea that CBS actually took. For Teen Jesus, and he's getting drunk off his own blood. I was so tired, and I was like, what if Teen Jesus comes into the house and Mary's there, like, where were you? And he's like,
I wrote a sketch that Carl Tart did, who's name dropping, now on SNL. Carl Tart, he's the best.
My baby.
Carl played an astronaut. It was like an Apollo 13 bit where he was like an astronaut stranded on a space station, and mission control had to be like, you need to find this oblong looking part and plug it into this oblong looking part, and then you can make an oxygen apparatus. And then Carl, this is a disgusting bit, Carl would just, I wrote him to play an astronaut. He's like, I can't use that. And they're like, why can't you use that? And he goes, because I used it already.
Ew!
And they're like, what do you mean you used it? And he goes, I fucked it. And that was the sketch that I wrote for Carl. And he made it way funnier than the script actually was.
I was like, if you know Carl, if you've seen him, I bet that dry reaction was so funny.
I had to make a NASA suit. I went to Home Depot and got a painter's suit and like taped on these
I hate
NASA
you.
patches.
You made it
for him
hard
to
for
wear.
yourself. See,
Yeah,
with Team
it's too
Jesus,
hard.
you just had to get a Jesus outfit.
I had to do is just get like a bed sheet to be a robe and flip flops.
There you go.
Yeah. I need to see your Teen Jesus. But anyway, yes, you write until 2, then they do a read through, and then they pick the sketches, and they bring in actors to do a read through at like 5 or 6 p.m. And then they have like 2 or 3 hours to memorize all these lines, and the show goes up at midnight. So within 24 hours, you have a whole sketch show. And then, so I feel like if we had James Gunn and Ryan Coogler do that, I'd be curious to see what they would write.
Give me shorts. Give me a short film. Give me short pieces. I would eat that shit up. They would never do that. They would never, clearly. But like, oh my God, if there was just a fun day in Hollywood, I know that they've started doing this weird thing in Hollywood. I don't know if it's happening all the time, but there's a lot of black celebs that meet up for game nights, and they're like playing Uno and a bunch of things. It was like Pharrell and Megan Thee Stallion, Issa Rae, and a bunch of random people. And I'm like, if you guys could just have fun one day and write a script in 5 hours, what would that script look like? And give it to like someone in a college to produce it. Like if Guillermo del Toro, James Gunn, Ryan Coogler, if they could get Christopher Nolan, you got 3 hours to write a script. It can be 3 pages, it can be 10 pages, whatever you want. You can make it make no sense, and then I'll produce it. And then see what comes out of them. That would be so fun. Christopher Nolan's is just him eating an English breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, well, Christopher Nolan writes, scripts that Tom Holland praises. The Odyssey. He said the Odyssey was the best script he's ever read. And Tom Holland's read a lot of scripts.
I'm gonna eat that movie up.
That movie's gonna be so goddamn good.
I'm gonna eat that movie up, and I want to read that script.
I mean, reading the Nolan script for Memento.
Oh yeah,
is incredible, and he wrote that like 30 years ago. He's so good. I don't know how fast he writes, but it's not like he takes like 3 years between projects. He takes like 2 years between projects.
Which is weird. He must have been having the Odyssey in his back pocket for a minute, right?
And I think all of these things are just like backburnered ideas that he's had for a while. I mean, Oppenheimer was like an idea he's had for a while. He read American Prometheus a long time ago.
I guess he also has that mind to try to confuse the hell out of people too. Because I was like, how the hell do you write Inception that quick?
That's the thing. It was him and his brother worked on Inception for a while. It was Jonathan Nolan also was like pitching a lot of these ideas. And Interstellar was an idea that he worked on with his brother. Memento even was like a short story that his brother was writing, and then they had discussed it. And even the short story came out after the script for Memento sold. So it's just interesting. These are ideas that these Nolan boys are just like
sitting in a room,
but
it's so insane. The
I don't know how
concepts
you
are
structure
insane.
it. Yeah,
how do you structure it?
Like I can understand James Gunn writing the script for Superman as fast as he did because it's just a pretty linear, the story. But like a story like Memento, Inception, Interstellar. I mean,
I want to not believe he understands it himself, but I feel like he has his own belief. Like he knows what he's writing down, or else he wouldn't. I'm just confused as hell. I'm like, how are you confusing the entire nation?
It's I think a lot of directors they almost don't need a finished script, but they need the storyboard.
Yeah.
Like they have to have at least a storyboard in the head. Like Spielberg has said he used to storyboard his scripts. Now he will storyboard it in his mind on the day, which sometimes drives people crazy. I think Nolan has to have the edit in his head. Like he has to understand like the layout, the assembly of the movie in the edit to understand, well, of course I would cut back to this scene in this movie, because his scenes will just intercut across millennia sometimes. And you're like, why would you cut back to this planet right now, James?
To be a fly on that wall. It must
Chris?
be. I believe you with Christopher Nolan. He's seeing the scenes in his head, and he's like, if I see this scene, it has to come from over here. That would make sense. That makes sense. He's not starting at the end of like his idea and then going backwards. He's
like Oppenheimer will just have a random scene where Murphy's sitting in the desert, and then suddenly it'll cut to raindrops.
Yeah.
And it's like that edit needed to happen right there. I get it, but like, how would you even know to do that?
This is our second time talking about Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I know.
And there's people that genuinely do not like that person.
It drives people crazy.
And we are the pro Nolan fan, and we should not.
We are a pro Nolan channel. I think we're mostly a pro everyone channel here. We'll find something nice to say about anybody.
The only person I think I talk shit about, probably Quentin Tarantino. And the thing is, I like Quentin Tarantino movies. I have beef with Quentin Tarantino.
He's a very unusual human being.
It's the same way I have beef with James Cameron, but I watch every one of those movies, and I like the way he directs, the way he writes sometimes. But I like the way he directs, but I'm still like, I have my personal beefs with with him. Personal in a way of like, he doesn't know who I am. It's the way he treats things online.
I get it.
James Cameron.
But all these directors are just like wizards in different ways that I think that has to be their whole world, their life, like the way they see these things. Like they have to just Yeah.
Oh, Quentin, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Oh my God. I would never, every time I had to watch a Quentin Tarantino movie in college, I remember being just like, yeah, I would never shoot this way. I would never direct this way. This is crazy as hell.
But Tarantino is someone whose method, I understand how someone like that can make something like
100,
this.
that's what
because
it is.
it's at times the way James Gunn often is, the scene gets a little indulgent. Like he lets the camera roll a little bit longer to just have this like kind of pointless, jokey exchange. And like you could imagine that, you know, I'm not going to make a physical gesture with my hands right now, but you can imagine the filmmaker
who's
kind of
doing
doing that, be like, oh yeah, that exchange was so funny and so great. And like that's how both those guys write their scenes
100%.
sometimes. And hey, when it's good, it's great. And we're laughing along with you. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, you could have cut this a little short. Move on to the next thing.
Nah, not him. He keeps that, no matter how much he's paying for that damn film, he's like, I'm going to keep it rolling.
Yeah. So I think we have a good sense of like why people are confident about
the DCU
with Man of Tomorrow, and if James Gunn can just like keep going at a fair pace, I think we can keep this pot boiling.
I'm rooting, and I'm watching Lanterns.
Oh, Lanterns! I mean, Lanterns and Supergirl will be the test.
It will be the test, but for some reason, why do I have no doubt in it?
Yeah, why?
Why do I keep being like, I'm more excited?
Because Tanya was that good. Because Watchmen and Leftovers were that good. You know,
I eat all of them up. And I think that math is why I'm like, it can't be bad.
Yeah,
every single thing I watched of it was great.
Coming up this week on New Rockstars, we got another episode of Alien Earth, another episode of Peacemaker. We'll be breaking those down. I believe by now you have seen Jessica's breakdown of K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes. Very, very good video. Go check that out. And what else? Other videos that will be great. And then let's finish this episode with what we're watching. What have you been watching this week, Jess?
We said we were going to end it with who we have a crush on.
Oh, we're gonna end this episode with, instead of what we're watching, who you had a crush on when you watched Disney original channel movies.
Because Eric's list is, not only is it long, but it's you got Christy Carlson Romano, which easy, 100%.
Okay, so basically, if you were a millennial who was a TV star on the Disney Channel around the years of 1999 to 2001, I had a crush on you.
You said Raven, the girl from Xenon.
Yes, the star of Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff. Crush
Easy.
on her.
Everybody had a crush on her.
Lelaine, who played Miranda on that show, crush on her. I had a crush on Christy Carlson Romano from Even Stevens, and I thought she should have been the star of that show. Nothing against you, Shia LaBeouf, but I'm just saying it was a Ren show, not a Lewis show.
To be fair, you kind of sometimes, it's the perspective, right? Because sometimes it is the Ren show. The Even Stevens movie felt like the Ren movie for me. Oh my God, great choices. Also,
Lindsay Lohan. It started with Lindsay Lohan. I mean,
one.
The Parent Trap in 1998 was like a very important movie for me. Not only was it beautifully shot by Dean Cundy, I just think Lindsay Lohan gave like an all-time great performance twice over.
It's just no one chooses The Parent Trap. They're usually like, oh yeah, Mean Girls, or even like
Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
I fell in love with her.
I watched all those movies and I was a huge fan of hers. But there's a lot of guys out there who saw Parent Trap and you liked her. She was so funny in it. She was really good. And it's like, man, and she kind of looked like a girl who might have been in your class.
No,
for all the Charlie Browns out there, she was a cute redheaded girl.
100%. That being your crush, but also I can see little Eric having a crush on literally every girl that was on like Disney Channel.
Yeah, I would just sit there, just watch, like
running around.
I want her to be my girlfriend.
That's so funny. Those are no musicians?
No, I didn't. Well, once I was in high school, I mean, yeah, like your Britney Spearses, your Gwen Stefani's, your Christina Aguilera's. Gwen Stefani, yeah.
Gwen Stefani.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go Gwen.
And who was from Can't you see?
Oh, from Evanescence? Eric's goth phase was with Evanescence.
Oh, yeah.
With Evanescence. Oh, my. You had, I don't think you had a type. It was just a spectrum.
I did it, yeah.
It was just a spectrum.
Yep, I got into J-Lo.
You said Evanescence? Oh,
all of
God,
them.
J-Lo.
Everybody, yep.
Jesus Christ, Eric.
What's wrong with that? Everyone was, yeah.
Everybody. I'm not going to talk about my first one because...
Hold on. Wait, you said we would both talk. Why can't you share?
No, because what? We're going to get J-Lo? J-Lo's going to hear this somehow?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My person is Oh my god, I don't even want to do this because people might. No, I don't want to.
You might know them.
No, I know
the one you shared before we recorded.
Yeah.
You don't have to share that.
I
one.
can share it. I'm just more. You guys might catch it anyways. I'll say this really quick. The person that I had a crush on, I never had a crush on Aaron Carter.
Oh.
I did have a crush on Usher, but I never had a crush on Aaron Carter. But I did have a crush on a little boy in it's pretty obvious now, in Holes, that I was obsessed with. When I was a child, my mom bought me Nickelodeon magazines, and I would cut him out and paste him all over my walls and my door. I remember I had a door hanger that said his name from the movie. And the part that I'm nervous about is that we have mutual friends now. And I've been to events where he's there. Oh. And anytime I see him, like, anywhere, I'm constantly like, oh no, this boy does not know 2003 Jessica. Could you just imagine? Because also, we're all like little girls on Nickelodeon and all these things. And 2003 third grade Jessica. It's weird to be like, oh, do you know how obsessed with you I was? When I was going through, like, I love horror things and thrillers. And in high school, I did my culmination project on wanting to be a horror director. And I used a lot of Eli Roth as the example. And then I got this job and I got the opportunity to interview Eli Roth. And I was like, I was like, you don't understand. I literally, for 4 years, I studied you, and then I put you into a project, and then in college, I got to work at a museum where you were the curator for the horror part. Like, I am now talking to you. And he was like, oh, great.
I think it's probably awkward for these stars to hear that because they get that kind of attention, that parasocial attention from a lot of different sources. It can be weird. But all we're really saying is that, like, they were an inspirational figure, you know?
Eli Roth was an inspiration. He even was like, he emailed me later and was like, send me your presentation.
Hey, cool.
And I did. And he was like, this is really cute. I also did not know how to use, it wasn't... Keynote? Was it Keynote?
Keynote, yeah.
I was younger being like I did not know how to use it. But the person from Holes, please, I can't see you or talk to you in person because I remember that crush I had. It was mainly just those two. Oh my God, I had a crush on Bow Wow. I had a crush on Turtle from Entourage really bad.
Turtle?
Yeah. Yes.
No, sure.
Easy.
Yes, I would. Yes.
What
good
is
on
yours?
You.
Drama?
I like E. He's my favorite character in Entourage. Hey, and I'm saying all of these guys are dirtbags. I'm saying, like, what's your favorite anise candy?
Anise candy.
You know, anise candy, the weird Finnish candy, and it's like a disgusting licorice chemical flavor.
Oh
That's what the human beings on the Entourage series are. If I had to pick a favorite, it's like, okay, which one would you shoot last?
And we technically both chose the two ones that we would shoot last.
Who would you shoot first, Vinny?
Oh, well, Vinny? yeah. Vinny, and technically the manager, Ari.
Uh-huh.
Drama has to go, dude. Drama has to go. That's insane. Drama was so problematic.
But Drama's like the Mac of the crew. It's like, yes, he's problematic, but like he's the funniest to make fun of.
This is so niche. There's an episode where he has to kiss another actress and he couldn't stop getting hard during it. And it was horrible. Even me in my young age was like, fire him, get rid of him.
Like,
and that was the half part of the episode was him on set being like, I'm trying not to. And I was like, get rid of Drama. Kill Drama, kill Drama. This is so funny. But yeah, I had a crush on, like, not the conventional ones, but I'm so irritated with. I also fell in love with cartoon characters.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, yeah, it was like easy to be like, oh yeah, Danny Phantom.
Stitch.
Oh. Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras, dead ass. Cut the camera. No, I'm serious. Cut the goddamn camera. Exit out the show. I'm not doing this with you anymore.
Brandon Barrick loves Stitch.
Yeah, I bet he does. He's a pervert.
He
and that's
Stitch.
on Brandon period.
Hates
that's
Stitch.
On period. If you're a Disney fan, you either really love Stitch or you really don't like Stitch. I feel like.
Can you have a crush on a Muppet?
Depends on the damn Muppet.
I had a crush on Miss Piggy.
That's fine. But I thought you were gonna say Animal.
Oh well, Animal.
Animal. You can't. Unfortunately,
you're not allowed
I don't
to love
think
Animal.
you can Fozzie either.
Yeah. Why? Why is that?
He's just too much close to a bear.
Well, Miss Piggy's a pig.
But it's because she has blonde hair and is always dressing in different outfits and does
dresses.
very women-like human things. But Fozzie's just like, I'm a bear.
I don't understand the line, and I don't agree with you that it's there.
Oh, okay, you don't. Yeah, and understandable if you don't agree. I completely get it. It's a weird, like me being like, no, it's a human for Miss Piggy, but everyone else, I'm like, nah, it's a frog.
What's her face? The girlfriend from Goofy Movie.
Roxanne. Oh,
Hard
my
crush on Roxanne.
God. Who didn't love Roxanne?
She might have been my first crush because I was like in first grade when that movie came out.
Roxanne.
Oh, the way she brushes her hair out of her face.
And it was diabolical. They did not need to make her like that. That hair was so big and perfect. And she was so shy when she was talking. It was always like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, stop it. Stop it. I don't know how to control myself. I'm 4 years old. I think my first like weird cartoon character crush was in Land Before Time.
Which one? Littlefoot?
No.
Ducky?
It was Sarah.
It
was Sarah. Yeah. That was when I realized I like Mean Girls because it was like, oh, her and Buttercup. And at first when you're a child and you don't know you're queer, you're like, oh, I just really like these people. And then you grow up and you're like, no, you were nervous to talk to them because you were like attracted to these people. And I was like, with Sarah, I was always like, she's so cute. And I like how mean she is. And I wish she was mean to me. And that was when I realized I was like, oh, maybe I'm attracted to these girl characters.
For me, it was my first weird one was Ursula, the sea witch.
No, that's not weird at all. That's not weird at all. That's not weird at all.
She's just so curvy, and she's got these. I realized the tentacles were actually kind of working for me. Like
you're like, give me 8. Give me 9.
And she's wearing this corset that makes her so busty.
No,
she is totally a sexual figure.
I think that one makes sense.
These animators knew what they were doing when they drew this. They were totally there's been a long history of this, of animators like working in their kinks into their character designs.
Is that why every mom has like the hips of like a goddamn truck?
Mrs. Incredible?
It's bad. It's not even her even. It's like Jimmy Neutron's mom too. Like Dexter's mom was disgusting. Like she was in heels that were little knives and her butt was boom, like in the back. And I was like, the animator that drew this was like, this was my friend's mom that I was in love with. Jeez Louise. Should we have gone into animation?
I think we should have. The halls of Pixar and Disney Animation and Illumination and DreamWorks are filled with perverts. But they really helped a lot of kids get through their teenage years.
I will also say that it makes sense too, because it's like, not saying they all do this. I'm saying I bet when they started in the game, they were selling art. And there's a lot of people that commission different kinds of arts.
Yes, a whole cottage industry of it.
I've always been tempted to be like, can you get me being held by Machoke, like from Pokemon? I'm tempted. If someone wants to draw that, I will probably pay for it. It just got to be pretty good. I don't like that everyone in the studio collapsed when I said that. I don't like that you guys
remembered
pulled
what
back.
Machoke looked like at the same time. Yeah. And I like it's Machoke, not Machamp. Machamp is too handsy. He's got too many sets of everything. Machoke is just right.
Give me Machoke. Give me Machoke. I'll pay for that art in a heartbeat. Easy. And
whereas I just want to be held by Clefairy. Just put me in that pouch, Clefairy.
It's Erik.
Take me home. I want to replace the egg.
I want to be a Joey, like a kangaroo.
Make me the egg.
That's actually a cute art. That would be cute art. I think mine's cute too. It's not pervert. Well, it's not me like laying in bed. Have you seen that where it's like you laying in bed with certain Pokemon just don't work? Like because you have like a cat or a dog, they lay in bed with you, and like having Pikachu at the end of the bed, but like Machoke and Machamp look like they were spooning the hell out of you.
I have not seen this. Well, how would I have ever seen this?
And how would I see it, Jessica? We know why.
I'm not gonna ask how you saw it. My God.
I was a Tumblr girl. I had a robust, weird youngness.
Wow. Okay, so we went to some interesting places here this episode.
And thank you for entertaining it. We will do what we're watching next week for sure. We just had this conversation at the beginning about like all our crushes, and I was so enamored. I really wanted to talk about it.
That's it for this episode of The Sneak Peek. Thank you so much for joining us, and let us know in comments below what you're most excited about when it comes to Man of Tomorrow in the future of the DC universe. Make sure to follow New Rockstars on all social platforms and subscribe to all of our channels. Follow Jessica at Lulu_Clements. Follow me at EA Voss. Nerdriot.shop has all of our best nerdy, cool designs on mugs, shirts, hoodies, and more. Thank you to Brian Kim for producing and editing this episode, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.